So we've got some significant news about Stability AI. The company has got a new CEO. This is a report in a couple of different journals. Here we've got the report saying that the new CEO has been appointed amid financial struggles. Now, I reported before on the departure of Emad Mostak, the original founder and the original CEO of Stability AI. And it does seem that the company has got this new CEO who is Prem Akkaraju, the guy on the right. And also it has a new, I think, chairman of the board, which is Sean Parker, who's the guy on the left. Now, this seems to have happened very recently over the last few hours. And they're saying that the change comes as Stability AI grapples with significant financial challenges, including mounting debt and disappointing revenue figures. Now, I reported a little bit about these difficulties in the last video, and those reports came from the Financial Times. What they're saying here, and I don't think this particular journal is necessarily the original reporter of this news. I'll link to what I think is the original source. And what they say here is, according to sources familiar with the matter, the company generated less than 5 million in revenue whilst posting losses exceeding 30 million in the first quarter of this year. Now, this is a little bit worse than I thought might happen, and I'm still not 100% sure whether those figures are accurate. There seems to be not really much information about the sources, but the information coming from the Financial Times, the report that I relied on for the previous video, says that the new chief, this is when Emad Mostak left the company, the new chief will have the job of achieving the company's first profit. It has 8 million in costs a month with revenues of 5.4 million in February, up from 3 million in November, according to 3 people familiar with Stability's finances. So this is coming from several people, and it is back in February, and it is the Financial Times, which is a fairly reliable source. And they're quoting an increase of from 3 million in November to 5.4 million in February. Now, if this trend had continued, the company would probably be breaking even now. So something must have happened to change that, and I'm not sure exactly what has happened to make the situation somewhat reverse. Now, the Financial Times article is a very good one to read, and I think it's a fairly balanced one. But at the end, and this is a fairly responsible company, they say one investor in the company said, the product is actually really special and differentiated. It was just poorly run with Mostak at the helm, where optimistic a new CEO can clean up. So you kind of need to read between the lines with the Financial Times. And I think that statement there, coming right at the end, suggested that there may have been some concerns about the direction of the company, even at the time that Mostak left the company. And Mostak actually is quoted here saying, some researchers left after I told them I was leaving, grateful they stayed so long and worked so hard despite being offered multiples of their pay by others. Now, we do know some of the developers of Stable Diffusion actually left. There were 3 significant developers of the latent diffusion model who were hired by Stability AI, and they left around the time of Mostak. And the opposite line says here, some of those former employers refuted Mostak's account, saying they left the company voluntarily. Not quite sure how to read that, but there's more than one meaning to that. Now, for those people who are looking for a little bit more background to the story, I did some research on Perplexity, and it gives a brief account of the resignation of Emad Mostak, the appointment of 2 interim CEOs, that was Shanshan Wong and Christian Laford, the chief technology officer. And these were interim CEOs, so we expected at some point that they would appoint a new CEO, and this seems to be what's happened with Prem Akkaraju being appointed. And they actually say here the move is part of a restructuring effort to address financial challenges and steer the company towards a sustainable business model. Now, this theme of financial difficulties, that's something which runs throughout the company's history for the last year or so, coming from increasingly reliable sources. Now, this report, which comes from multiple sources, says a new round of funding led by tech entrepreneur Sean Parker has been secured, which sounds positive. However, they're saying that this investment is described as a recapitalization, and that suggests that money is being put in, but not necessarily like free money, but maybe money that helps to take the new investors to a potentially some degree of ownership in the company. Now, Prem Akkaraju has a background in visual effects and in the entertainment background. This is significant because there were reports that the company was moving in that direction. In the March 2024 article in the Financial Times, in that article, that same article, they say Stability is seeking a permanent leader, looking for executives from the media and creative industries, which could result in the company being moved abroad. Said two people familiar with the CEO search. The company has 170 employees with 80 AI researchers and engineers. Now, some of you may already know that some of the researchers and engineers, some of those guys left last week. I think they were somewhat unhappy with the developments happening in the company. I won't go into more of that. You can find out more about that elsewhere. But this does seem to indicate the relative accuracy of this report, and the fact that the executives here were looking for someone from the media and creative industries does somewhat tie in with the fact that the new CEO actually comes from one of those sectors, from the media sector, entertainment sector. Now, the other guy, Sean Parker, has a very interesting history. I don't know very much about him. I don't know much about most of these people. But it says here, this leadership transition is accompanied by a crucial lifeline, a new round of funding led by a group of investors, including Sean Parker. And they go on to say the tech entrepreneur, famous for co-founding Napster and serving as Facebook's first president. Now, that's interesting. Is that a positive or negative? A lot of people have a negative view of Napster, and a lot of people have a negative view of Facebook. So I'm not sure. They're saying that he's become the CEO. Apparently, he was attending a dinner with the Obamas quite recently, so he's a high flyer. And there is some suggestion that he will be able to bring in new talent, maybe new money, maybe substantially change the company. And the idea here at the moment is that the company is facing increased competition from companies like OpenAI's GPT. So when GPT came out with DALL-E 3, I moved over to DALL-E 3 and started using it, and it became one of my go-to. Stability AI have come out with Stable Assistant. I'm using that now rather than using DALL-E 3. So my money's gone over to Stability AI. I'm hoping they do well, because I like the products that they've got, and I think the company has a lot of potential if it has the right leadership. So at the moment, things are changing. There's a little bit of information about what's happening. It's all very fresh, and I think we'll find out a few more details as time goes by. As far as I know, Stability have not yet confirmed this new CEO. So you're kind of hearing it right off the presses. So take some of this information with a pinch of salt. I'll link to a couple of the articles which I think are the most reliable sources. Some of those will be paywalled, but hopefully that's been some useful information about Stability AI. Let me know what you think about this. This is fascinating to me.